that I just wanted to drop, but I don't think the tech people would be happy after that last line. Thank you. So. Jayden and Ella, what a fantastic way for us to wrap up this conference. You came in at the top on Tuesday, you're wrapping it up at the back today after the wonderful final panel that we just had on, as you said, the most prominent Indigenous stories and knowledge sharing on any conference in Landcare's history. These are winds of change. If you can't feel the winds of change, maybe wind your window down a little more. But I think all of you in this room feel those winds of change. And Ella and Jayden have summed it up. I've got a few little points I want to make as I go through these thank yous. But first of all, thank you to all our speakers. And this is the joy, as you said, Ella and Jayden, you're here. You are the conference. So a big thank you to all our speakers and to all our exhibitors for supporting the 2022 Landcare Conference. You've made it what it is. You've created the conversations. You've pushed us out of our comfort zone. You've asked the questions. You've challenged all of us to think about where we're at and where we stand. To those sponsors, the Australian Government's National Landcare Program, ASIA, Gallagher, and the conference hosts, of course, Landcare Australia, for putting this on, particularly when things are still in wobbly times, and some people have been uncertain about coming out and travelling and so on. So to all of you that have turned up here, thank you particularly to the people that have come from as far away as Groote Eylandt, from as far south as Tassie, from as far west as WA, from as far north as the Cape, and everywhere in between. Thank you for making this. We know we wanted to get together, but you made that effort. But equally to all of you out there, thank you for making the effort to be part of it and for hearing from our speakers and to feel the change that we've all experienced and we've all been part of amplifying. A big thank you has to go to the National Landcare Conference Steering Committee for your guidance on the program development. Thank you to the following committee representatives: Jim Adams from the National Landcare Network, Marg Appleby from Landcare New South Wales, Chris McCulloch from Local Land Services, Maddie Humphreys from Local Land Services, Melissa Higgins from Landcare Australia, Dr. Shane Norrish from Landcare Australia. And of course, big thanks to Landcare Australia's team, the volunteers who have put in so much time over the last 3 days to support all of us as delegates, including Kate for supporting the awards finalists and the speakers. Big round of applause for that team. Melissa, Lisa, Sarah, Zvita, you've done an amazing job wrangling everybody to be here, to arrive here, to be settled, to feel comfortable and to be a part of this event. You are, as Jayden mentioned, what makes this conference a success. Coming together to learn, to share, to work together, to take away what you can, to adopt and apply it in your community. I think about some of the language, and Pam talked about language. Victor talked about language, the language we use, the partnerships, the data, the monitoring. And of course, the big one starts with S, ends in Y, and has subsidiarity in the middle. For those of you that were at the first, at the evening. Subsidiarity. For anyone online that missed it, look it up. It'll change your life. We are in disturbed times, but disturbance is what Victor was talking about. walking along and disturbing that plant and breaking it off, not with secateurs as we espouse in Gardening Australia. I love that, Victor. I love that. You know, this is what disturbance is about. We're talking about learning. We're talking about observing. Everything you were talking about and we saw with all of our speakers in the Next Gen conference, their observations. Little Owen, 7 years old. Spencer, 11 years old. All of the Next Gen people bringing their observations and then finishing the conference with the observations of our panel that are drawing on observations that go back, but also that project forward in that same timeline, that we're not talking about the next political cycle of 3 years or 5 years. And that fear, that I think what's happened in this conference is when we can show our vulnerabilities, when the youth showed their vulnerabilities at that conference, that set the scene for all of us to show our vulnerabilities, to share the fear, and then we can change the idea that fire is fear, as Victor said. We can change the idea that being youth is fearful, and how do we get onto and make a statement on a board for the first time? How do we bring together the people who are the doubters to turn them around in our local area, which is turning it upside down and saying, no, we need top down, but we need bottom up. Well, actually, let's just turn the bottom to the top and go from the bottom down to the top, just to mess with the whole context here. And you know, if people are struggling with understanding what you mean, well, then I would say put the undies on the outside. Put the undies on the outside to mess with them, to disturb with their status quo, because when you disturb their status quo, they will become disturbed and receptive to something new. And remember to tuck in, because that has more impact. It really does. I learnt that last night. Everything is connected, from global Landcare and all of our guests, from New Zealand, from Japan. We have an opportunity to take everything you were talking about, Jaden, and what it's given you, but we are already exporting this, and to our other delegates from around the world. From New Zealand, we've got representatives here from, I think, Sri Lanka. Where else? Fiji, all the islands, all of our neighbours. And what about biosecurity? The concept of the decade of biosecurity. That is intimately integrated with every conversation that took place in every stream session and every panel. And we can make this decade of biosecurity a game-changing moment for the country, not just for our biosecurity, but most of all for our biodiversity. We're seeing these challenges float into our islands through drift nets, on plastic pieces as vectors. We're seeing problems. It's not if, it's just when. And the more prepared we are as a network, then the more we can face these challenges. I think the most important thing we can do, and you brought it up, and the last panel brought it up, and it's been in lots of discussions, and I realise here I am trying to be serious. But we are who we are by what we wear. What we wear, our skin, and what we put over our skin. I was fortunate enough to receive this wonderful T-shirt, and when I wear it, I'm part of the Desert Project. And of course, I'm part of Landcare. We're all part of Landcare. We can wear that. We wear that. We wear it in conversations. We don't take that off when we go to sleep. We don't take that off when we go to different country. It's part of us. You're all here. You're part of it. But then we can also open up and connect conversations with our next gen and our intrepid sisters and brothers, because whether you're intrepid, whether you're an adult, whether you're a youth, we all need to be intrepid in our outlook. And it's wonderful that intrepid and our youth are here on this stage. And then, of course, if we take it to the next level, then we take it right down to where succession begins. And I believe this conference has made a line in the stand about that succession by recognising every age group right through. So it makes me, you know, it was a great privilege, and I don't take lightly the opportunity to have emceed this event and to have been a part of last night's event, and to all of the nominees and to all of the national award winners. Utilise that, amplify that award to bring all of us and everything that Landcare represents with you and your award to take it out, as Victor's example said, so that the people over the fence start doing that and go, oh, hang on, something's engaging here. I want to be a part of it. And those awards are a big part of it. We need to amplify those messages. So to all the award winners, can we have a round of applause, and to the nominees who were state winners anyway. Don't worry, I won't go any, there's no more layers. There's certain things you won't be able to unsee. And I don't think there's the budget for follicle counsellors. That's really, that's it. Take the message. Every 2 years. 2 years ago, we were online. This year we weren't. The pledges that Jayden talked about, take your pledge, take the learning that we've gathered for, and I really look forward to not only what you do with your pledge, but gathering and talking about it and seeing where things are at in 2 years from now. We are an incredibly powerful group. Keep in touch. Amplify each other's projects, and see you in 2024. Thank you.